Good morning. My what are these called? Jowls? They're coming in nicely. They're coming in nicely. And I feel like when I have long hair, it just enthuses them just so much. It just looks so good on my 34-year-old face. Oh. We're getting ready to take Dee to the emergency dentist. It's a little bit of a drive. It's a little bit of a drive because, if you know, if you live in a small town, the romanticized small town life, having to do things like drive for an hour or more for basic dentistry. They leave that out on TikTok. Really late Tuesday night, he had a really bad toothache. It was too late to do anything, so, we gave him ibuprofen and ice pack, put numbing cream on it. He did eventually fall asleep. He woke up yesterday. He said, I was in this much pain, and now I'm in this much pain. But I told him, we need to go. Mom needs to do what she needs to do to find a dentist, to do something about this, so then we never have to worry about it again. Because it's been 2 years of this tooth, on and off, giving him shit. It's once every 3 or 4 months this happens. Unfortunately, where I live, none of the dentists want to touch his teeth because of his autism and his diabetes. I can get him his teeth cleaned. We get his teeth cleaned every 6 months. But they'll poke around in there and they'll look at it and say, you need to get a dentist to do a root canal on that. So his endocrinologist has been filling out referrals for the Children's Hospital dentist for almost 2 years, and they've just been disappearing into the void. I've called about it, and they're like, what are you talking about? I've literally watched her fill them out, and then I'll call the dentist, and they'll be like, I don't know what you're talking about. So yesterday I woke up and at 8 a.m. on the dot started calling everywhere to try to find him a dentist relatively close to either do a root canal or take it out. I got on Facebook, I asked for recommendations, and I tried to call his pediatrician to see if maybe he could fill out a referral for me. I couldn't get a hold of his office. I'm hoping everything's okay. He's very old. When I Googled the number, it said that he has been practicing for over 50 years, and I was like, ew. So he's very elderly, and I didn't realize he was that elderly, so I hope everything's okay. You know where my mind went. But I did finally find a dentist, and it's crazy because it's the same dentist that my mom would take me to, and I would fight him like a bear, and he would put up with it. He just dealt with it. There's not a lot of dentists in this area that will deal with that. Do I think Dee's going to act like that? No. But I do know from, my own experience that he is patient, with his patients. So that makes me feel better. He's also worked on Epsis teeth before. So that makes me feel better. I called when I made the appointment. I said, I just want to let you know he does have autism. He does have type 1 diabetes. If I'm going to, if we're going to drive all that way and then, I don't want to drop that on you guys and have that be an issue. And the secretary was like, it's not going to be an issue. I don't really know why it would be. And I was like, oh, well, we have a history of it being an issue. So we're going to get this shit taken care of today. And I did have the talk with him because it's the only tooth in his head that's bothering him. I did have the talk with him, if we get this tooth fixed, we never have to do this again. Obviously, you still have to go to the dentist because he gets his teeth cleaned every 6 months. I said, obviously, you're still going to have to go to the dentist, but you may never have to get another root canal or never have to get another tooth pulled again in your life if you take really good care of your teeth. My dad has never had a cavity. My brother has never had a cavity, and neither of them has ever had to have a tooth pulled. So, and my grandma did not have her first cavity, I think, until her mid-70s, and that just comes with age. Your teeth rotting just comes with age. But I told him, I said, if we get this tooth fixed or pulled out between you and me, we may never have to do this again if you just take really good care of your teeth. So I did have that talk with him. I did have from your mother's own experience, don't fight him, because it just makes things a lot harder on everyone, and yourself mostly. So that's what we're gonna do today. We're gonna get his mouth poked around in, which he's used to. He goes to the dentist every 6 months, but he's never had a root canal or a tooth pulled, if that's what it comes to. So I'm a little scared for him, but he'll be all right. And I think he does, because of his diabetes, grasp the concept of doing something temporarily uncomfortable to long-term feel better, but this still is a new situation, so wish him luck. Okay, we're home. I have to get a drink. I have to get my damn Crystal Light packet going. I don't think I'm ever going to buy these again. Peach mango. I really want a tea flavored one. That has nothing to do with anything. Anyways, we were in and out in 27 minutes. That included paperwork, that included x-rays, that included numbing. So basically what ended up happening was that they numbed his mouth. They looked at him. It took 3 tries to get his x-rays, because they tried to do the thing where you like bite down on the thing and it didn't work. They tried that twice, so he ended up having to do the thing where you like stand there and it goes around your head, and obviously that one worked. The longest part was that, and waiting for the numbing to kick in, but he said, like, outright, he took one look at that x-ray and he said, I think the tooth's gonna have to come out, especially if it has been hurting him for 2 years. It's time for it to go. And I agreed, because it's a very back tooth. And I cried twice. When he got his tooth numbed, he did cry. His eyes did well up with tears, and he did cry. But he stood still the whole time. He hugged his teddy bear, and he stood still the whole time. When I was a kid, when I went to the dentist, I would fucking swing on him. I would be trying to run out the fucking door, okay? He hugged his bear, and he had tears streaming, and I also started crying because it was really hard to see that. He's fine. I don't know why, like, it makes me want to cry again, but then we had to wait for the numbing to kick in, and then he went and he took the thing and he was tapping around in his mouth, and he's like, can you feel this? Can you feel this? Can you feel this? And then he did the thing where he took the little thing and he loosened up the tooth around the edge, and Dee wasn't saying anything the whole time, so he took the things from behind Dee's head. He didn't want him to see the giant, like, pliers is the best word that I can use for it. He took them from behind his head and he reached in there and he went, and Dee's just and started crying. And so I started crying, and he went pop, and it came right out. But Dee started crying because he could feel the pressure of it. I told him, you know, you are going to feel him in your mouth pulling your tooth. You're just not going to feel the pain from it. Like, it's really hard to explain. If you've ever had a C-section, you're numb, but you can still feel that they're playing around in your organs. And I think when you're a small child that's never had to have work done where you're numb from it, you don't understand pressure versus pain. I definitely didn't understand pressure versus pain until I had my first C-section, or my second C-section, because I was under for my first C-section. Until I had my C-section with Mr. E, I didn't understand pressure versus pain either. But he did cry when they pulled it, because it's scary. You can hear it cracking. You can feel that there's something wiggling inside of your fucking jaw. But he went, and it came right out. And, like, I swear to God, it was probably 5 seconds. And he was crying because he was scared, but he looked at me and I looked at him. And I said, you're never going to have to worry about that tooth again. Was it worth it? And he said, yes. Yes. I cried. I think I cried harder than him, but I was stoic about it. Yeah. Just so everyone is aware, I am aware that there's yellowing in my eyes. But keep in mind that I do have liver disease. So, I just got done filming myself playing with the Profusion Moonstone. Is that what it is? Profusion Moonstone palette. Because it's like a gray, rainy day. And it's making me, like, insanely fucking tired. And I was like, I'm gonna fall asleep and completely fuck up my sleep schedule, or I've got to get up and do something. So I decided to play with this. Guys, I feel like I could kick my own ass for not buying this sooner. I'm so fucking mad at myself. Like, I was so, like, hung up on how many, like, neutrals and shit are in here that I completely missed all of the grays and all of the whites. And I used that, like, silvery, like, glitter. Oh my god, it's so good. I could kick my own ass for waiting this long to get it. Oh my god. And yes, I am worried about the yellowing in my eyes. And it probably explains why every time I eat, I feel like I'm going to throw up. My liver is probably swollen. I should go to the doctor. I keep telling myself maybe it's not as bad as I think it is. And then I see my eyes and like on camera and I'm like, maybe it is. And then I keep telling myself, well, maybe it's in your head. Like, maybe it's in your head. I don't know. I should probably see my doctor, though. Oh, God. I love being alive and having a body. It's so cool. Don't mind my lipstick, because I'm not getting up and going across the room and touching it up. I'm getting ready to take it off anyway. I ate, so... While I was making the boys their bedtime snack, I did some Googling, and apparently stress can cause liver disease to flare up. And I am under a very extreme amount of stress right now. An unbelievable amount of stress right now. I have therapy in the morning. I did have therapy today, but I rescheduled it for in the morning because it ended up running into the same time as Dee's dentist appointment. So after I go to therapy and I talk to my therapist, I'll talk to you guys about everything that's going on. I am under an extreme amount of stress, so that is probably what is causing my liver to flare up, because I haven't otherwise done anything that would cause it, like, at all. This is what Dr. Google says. Stress and anxiety have been found to contribute to liver enzyme levels since they reduce blood flow to the liver. Stress is also connected to elevated cortisol levels, which in turn is connected to liver damage. Signs that your liver is struggling. Yellowing of the skin and whites of the eyes called jaundice. Belly pain and swelling. I don't have swelling in my legs and ankles. I do have dark tea, and I am constantly tired, and I do have nausea. And I can't believe that I don't have vomiting, because there's been a lot of times that I felt like maybe I would feel better if I did, you know. But I'll talk to you guys about that tomorrow. Epps is going to be off the clock in about an hour, and I need to get some sleep. I need to scrape my makeup off with a spatula and scrub my face and try to get a little bit of sleep. All right, I see you guys in the morning. My dog is aggressively eating food. Are you done? I think she's done. She's waddling away. So I went to the ER at 3 o'clock this morning. I woke up feeling very awful. It was very, very not fun. It was actually terrifying. Very nauseated, just a lot of pain in my abdomen. And I was like, fuck it, I'm going. I didn't even wake Epps up. I just left. The hospital's really close to our house. Somebody had to be here with the kids. So I just said, fuck it, I'm leaving. Didn't even tell him. They did blood, urine, and a CAT scan on me. And my bilirubin is elevated and my liver is swollen. But obviously nothing's dangerous, like nothing, I wouldn't be sitting here, I would be there admitted. I was told, you know, this will probably clear up on its own, within a few weeks to a few months. Rest a lot, stay hydrated, and try not to put any additional stress on my liver. Like don't drink and things like that, which won't be a problem because I don't drink, but the whole like avoiding stress thing, right? Like, hello? I don't know how to do that. Yeah. Yeah, I do have jaundice. I know that in the spring and the summer and the fall, I get a lot of comments from people wondering why my skin is the color that it is. All I have to say about that is like fight my genes about it. I don't know what to tell you. I've been feeling awful and just kind of hanging on and hoping that it would pass. I took a fucking pregnancy test because of the amount of nausea that I have been dealing with. And the second that I saw that yellowing in my eyes, I had this little bit of internal panic about it. So yeah, they did also check my gallbladder because I have had babies. My mom and my sister have horrible gallstones, and I've lost a lot of weight. And, you know, all that goes against me in the gallstone issue department, but somehow magically I don't have them. He said all of the tests for my gallbladder came back good, but my bilirubin is high and my liver is swollen. So we just have to hydrate, rest, and it's supposed to clear up quickly, but I do have to keep an eye on it because it could get worse very fast. So that's nice and fun and scary. I'm not supposed to do anything that could cause like additional stress on it if I can help it, like don't drink alcohol and things like that, which won't be a problem because I don't drink alcohol anyways. Um, the avoiding stress thing, it's just, I mean, I'm a mom, and even if I wasn't a mom, life is very stressful. Like, I don't know how I'm going to swing that one, but apparently I need to. A thing that happened that I wasn't a fan of when I was there, I was very happy that they told me that my liver, yeah, it was swollen, my bilirubin is high, but they didn't say, they didn't look me in the face and tell me you're on the cusp of cirrhosis, which was a fear that I had, which is something that happened to me a couple of years ago. They looked at me and they were like, girl, your liver is going to shut down. In fact, it might explode. So I was really, really terrified that that was going to be the case. But no, they're just like, no, your enzymes are high and your liver's a little agitated. But something that did happen that I was not a fan of while I was there, this doctor looks me in the face and said, and just so you know, the nodules on your lungs, they don't look any different than they looked back in 2020. My what? On my where? There's nodules on my lungs, and I didn't know about it. Nobody has ever told me about that. But apparently they saw them on a CAT scan back in 2020, and he's like, I just want to let you know they are stable. They're stable. And I was like, what causes nodules on your lungs? He said, honestly, probably like you got sick and your lungs improperly healed, or it's just the shitty air where we live. Could be either or, but I was like, oh, how the fuck did I not know about that? And then like right before I left, he's like, oh yeah, just so you know, you have ovarian cyst. And I was like, yeah, I know. But all this is happening most likely because I'm very stressed out. The conclusion to Dee's saga is that he is going to be homeschooled next year because I've had it. The meeting that we had with his principal went really, really well. And she even admitted to her boss, to the superintendent, that it went well. But she doesn't like me, and therefore she is not going to stop with it. I've kind of come to this moment of realizing that I don't think it's just that she doesn't like me. I also think she doesn't like my son. And unfortunately, she takes it out on him, and also fortunately doesn't take it out on E. And how do you know that? Shay, how do you know that? Well, because both of my kids have missed, until D got suspended, both of my kids had missed the exact same amount of time at school, the exact same amount of days at school. And I get letters about D, but I don't get letters about E. There you go. I feel like I am constantly being called to the school over D, but not for E. And when I tell you guys, if D sighs, if he frowns, I get a call from the school, can you come get him? He's just having a really hard day. What? He is still not back in school. They have 10 days. They are allowed to keep him out of school for a maximum of 10 days without expelling him. Because they didn't have a full week of school last week or this week. He has now been out of school for 8 days. Thankfully, they are allowing us to have him do his work at home, and then we send it in. We have done absolutely everything that they have asked of us. I didn't fight her when she said that he was suspended, because I accepted that they had a protocol. I accepted that he wrote on a school computer that he wanted to punch a kid that has a history of bullying him in the face. It doesn't matter that he didn't know that the kid, or didn't know that they could see it, and that the kid didn't see it. They still have a protocol. And we went through that protocol. And he should be able to go back to school. And I got a call from the principal saying, just so you know, I had a meeting with the superintendent, and he told me that your son has to be medicated before he can return to school. I don't know if you guys know this. I don't know if you are aware of this, but that's highly illegal. And also, her boss never said that because he's smarter than that, and he knows that's a lawsuit waiting to happen. But that was the last wrench that she could throw at me to keep my son from returning to that school, because she doesn't like me. So there's that. So I'm just going to take him out of school, because that's a long time for things to happen. Unfortunately, in the area that we live, the other school that he could go to is now shut down. It was the school that he was going to before he went to the school that he's in now. It got shut down. And for lack of funding, there's nowhere else for him to go. I looked into sending him to a school that is across the state lines, but still extremely close to my house. And they wanted $6,000 for me to send him there as out-of-state tuition. Yeah, I looked into, guys, I got so desperate, I looked into the private Catholic school by my house, and also can't afford that. So he is going to finish out the school year, and we are going to homeschool him for 5th and 6th grade. And then when 7th grade shows up, if he decides that he wants to go back to school, he can. If he doesn't, he can stay in homeschool. Honestly, as long as he gets his education, that's all that I care about. He just doesn't, he has autism, and he goes to a school that does not have a special needs classroom and does not have a special needs teacher. He is in an environment that is not designed for him to thrive with his disability. And when we had a meeting with the staff, like, it was like the principal, the vice principal, the school counselor, and one other person. It might have been another school counselor. I've never dealt with her before. One of them looked at me and said, he's too smart for an IEP. He does have a 504 for his diabetes. They said he's too smart for an IEP. What does an IEP have to do with being smart? He is one of the smartest fucking people I've ever met in my life, and he still has an IEP because he still has autism. What? Autism doesn't equal stupid. And also, you do not get to determine that. You don't get to determine that. It's just that it is a legally binding contract saying that they can and cannot, will and will not do certain things, or they can get in a lot of legal trouble for it. So they looked at me and they're just like, oh, he's too smart for an IEP. What the fuck does that even mean? What does that even mean? I hate talking about this shit, because there's always got to be somebody that's like, there's got to be more to the story than that. That's the most infuriating part about it, is that there's not. That is the most frustrating, infuriating, helpless feeling part of this, is that there's not. We have done everything. We have followed the protocol. We did everything that we legally had to do. And she just is continuing to throw hurdles at us. And she is the type of educator that you say her name and the room is filled with groans. So we can't deal with her for 2 more years. I had this moment. I was like, she doesn't like me, and she takes it out on my kids. I think she doesn't like D either. Like, straight up, I think she doesn't like D either. Yeah, I don't know. It's one of the most, if not the most frustrating and infuriating thing I've ever dealt with in my life. And I'm done. I am removing us from the situation. You've won. Because I'm done. I've had people say, oh my God, don't take him out. That's what she wants. I am not putting him through that to stick it to the man. And I'm mentally and fucking physically cannot handle it anymore. I can't do it. Don't take him out. That's what she wants. I am not, my child's not going to be a fucking sacrificial lamb to stick it to her. Absolutely not. My mental health and my physical health is not going to be, I'm not doing it. Life does not have to be this way. I just don't understand people that wake up and they just choose to exist like this. Like, your heart has to be heavy. You must walk around with the weight of the fucking world on your shoulders, unless you're just a totally awful fucking person that just doesn't care, that likes it, unless you are just somebody that thrives on chaos. All right, guys, I gotta get this edited and get it up, and I will see you tomorrow. Boy.